My people were biologically determined for one purpose alone, to get off on being voyeurs to sibling drama. I sense it coming now.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of A Discovery Home Companion. Yep, we're at home, and, you know, we've been companions before, and
we're discovering things together.
Oh, boy.
And not in a weird way. I mean, we could, we're discovering...
How is this getting more awkward?
...things about ourselves a little bit. We're discovering that the adventure was the friends we made along the way, and hey. But my name is Wade Bowen, and today I've only got two of my friends here with me, two of my closest companions.
Gross, man. Gross.
Not in a weird way.
Oh, okay.
A little bit of a weird way, but not like the weird way that you might be thinking it's a weird way.
Yeah. We fuck.
Jesus Christ.
We're all either engaged or married, and you guessed it, we fuck.
All right, we are cybering at the moment.
Yeah. This is the closest I come to orgasm all week, so
right.
I'll take it.
Right.
Just kidding. I have a very healthy sex life, guys.
Oh, I know.
I know you know. So you do. You get the videos then.
Yeah.
You do get those.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
All right.
You never respond.
Yeah. Yeah. I make use of them. Don't worry.
Okay, good. As long as they're not going to waste.
All right. So I know that we've repelled Glenn. I don't know about our other listeners.
Yep. Right. Glenn's out.
No.
Yeah.
I'm still here somehow.
All right. So yeah, you may remember these guys. I'm Wade. We've got Glenn Hall over there.
Hi, everyone.
Curled up in a fetal position, I'm sure. And Sean Parada.
Hey, very sexually active. Thank you. Good to see you.
Yeah. And speaking of sexually active, we're talking about Star Trek, Discovery, and this week's episode, which was called what?
If memory serves.
If memory serves what? What was it called?
Hey.
Say goodnight, Spock, and Wonka Waka.
Well, yeah, we got a real Laurel and Hardy here.
We're jumping a lot, but I really liked that.
I mean, I'm sure it's fine, but it
was one of my favorite moments of the show.
I mean, I love George Burns.
Yeah.
But
but just that good night, or sorry, the goodbye Spock thing has been in every single commercial.
Promo, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
For every single episode of this season, and then, like, when it finally happened, it's like, okay, fine.
Yeah.
Right.
No, it got me. It worked.
Right.
I loved it. I don't know why. I'm very easy.
I don't judge.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Which reminds me, I have a similarly awful joke to share at the end of the episode.
Ooh,
man, Glenn's teasing jokes.
Yeah.
Oh, God, this is great already.
Yep.
I'm on the edge of my seat. I can't wait for the end of this podcast.
All right, I guess we should probably talk about the actual episode.
Yeah, it's just, if memory serves, this was an all right episode, I guess, but not to spoil my feelings. Preliminary thoughts before we talk about it.
I really liked it, particularly because I, partially at your suggestion, Wade, had watched the original pilot of the original series, The Cage, and as I mentioned in a previous episode, I'd recently watched The Menagerie as well, which covers the same events and uses a lot of the same footage. So with that kind of extra, background info on this episode, I did actually really enjoy it. I can understand why someone who had not seen those things could have been on board, and how this could have all seemed just absolutely like nutso, but
yeah,
I feel attacked.
Oh yeah,
as you should.
You motherfucker.
Yeah, I mean, this is like when you said you were going through and watching all of the original series. I was like, well, you should go ahead and watch the pilot. I think it was why I suggested that, and especially this episode, because it's generally accepted as canon, though it was a little, I mean, talking about canon with this, but this episode, I feel like we have to talk about canon because that's all anybody's talking about.
Oh, yeah.
Because with before, people were like, well, this is the Cage canon. It was just an unaired pilot, but then since it's actually on Netflix and everything, it's generally accepted, and this locks it in the canon. And
Well, wouldn't the menagerie have made it canon?
That's what I was
if
thinking,
The
yeah.
Generally-
menagerie covers a lot of the same ground.
yeah, it does.
Well,
Okay.
Well, and so in part to explain why I had not already watched The Cage, honestly, just because of the way that Amazon organized the episodes. So The Cage on Amazon, for whatever reason, is at the end of the season listed as like a bonus.
Oh, okay.
And
Right.
And out of curiosity, I looked on Netflix, and it's the opposite, where it's like at the very beginning, and it's listed as the pilot. So basically, it just was because I watched it on Amazon, I had not seen it yet.
Oh, okay.
All right, that makes sense.
Yeah, but I do think having like seen it, it does. I thought they did an okay job folding in and bringing people up to speed with at least the absolute basics of the events of The Cage.
I mean, yeah, I mean, at no point, and I know, like, I've had the benefit of talking to you guys sort of about, like, what happened in the past, and we've speculated about, like, what this could be like. So I had some background coming in, but I did think that, like, the episode did a good job sort of letting you know what happened before what you need to know. And, like, and I don't know, I like just, like, weaving in old footage.
Sure.
Like, I'm cool with that. I think that's, like, a fun little, you have years of Trek, and, like, ignoring that serves nobody, and like you using it in like a fun, creative way when you have to, I think is like a cool choice that I enjoy.
Like the canon nerds on the internet get so butthurt about like, but see, it looks different, and it's like, yeah, I know it looks different. It was made in like 1960.
Yeah, what?
Or, like,
Yeah,
But the thing is, then they go back, but and I guess you can blame this on Deep Space Nine but it does matter because when they did that Trouble with Tribbles episode, Trials and Tribulations, they went back and they made it look exactly like the original series. And it's like, yeah, because it was cute and it was fun and it was like a blast to do that. And this episode of Discovery goes out of its way to say, by having that previously on, it's like, look, we're just continuing. We're updating the look. It's still the same continuity. It's still canon. It's because we say it is. Honestly, that's all they really need.
But that's all canon
is. It's a doubling down on.
Yeah.
It's just updating the look, which is fine.
Yeah. Well, you see this in comic books a lot. There's like kind of a sliding scale of continuity with DC and Marvel most famously, where these characters have been around for some of them 80 years, and things have changed, and like the old canon doesn't really apply, but they try and fold it in and like update it. It's just like, I think Star Trek has a similar thing where you just kind of have to accept that, like, yes, on some level, the continuity has to be at least somewhat fluid.
Well, I mean, with the comic book, I don't really know. I'm not an expert on this, but the way I understand it, the comic books with Star Trek complicate the issue a little bit.
Really?
Because with the 2009 movies, they kind of started doing all this multiverse stuff in the comics to where it seemed in the comics there is a different continuity, like there is the Shatner-looking Trek, and then there's Chris Pine Trek.
Right.
And those are actually two different multiverse versions of Trek.
Oh, okay. That's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, and all the Midnight's Edge and all the edgelord conspiracy people want to come on and like, but you see, this comic book that was published in 2009, Alex Kurtzman wrote it, and therefore it's all because that's why everything is in the Kurtzman. It's like, yeah, I mean, he wrote it, and they did a thing, but it's just like, it's just stories, man, and they decided that this was canon, so it's fucking canon.
Some of it's arbitrary, some of it's fluid. It's just the kind of thing you have to kind of roll with it and just kind of accept that yes, there's a core canon, but there are lots of things on the periphery that are going to be like how things look and what the technology functions like stuff like that is going in the aesthetics, like that's all going to be fluid because in 50 years there's going to be even more reboots of Star Trek where stuff looks even more different because that's just the nature of ongoing properties like this. And so,
I think my issue comes down to like when the canon nerds ignore just like the conventions of how television is made. Like it's just it's how you make TV. Like if they made an episode of Discovery now in 2019 that looked like an episode of the original series, people would be furious.
Yeah.
Like casual viewers would be like, what the fuck is this? This is dumb. And you'd be serving like a core group that would still find something to complain about.
Well, and that's basically what they did with, I haven't seen this episode, but the episode of Black Mirror that's the Star Trek, I don't want to use the word parody, but
McAllister. That's a great episode of
The USS McAllister, yeah.
Yeah. And Star Trek has always been kind of like weird with that because, I mean, you go back through, you had the difference between the original series and the motion picture Klingons. That's when they put the ridges on them and everything.
Sure.
And Roddenberry was involved in that. And Roddenberry his whole idea was just like, yeah, I just want to update the look because we can do better shit. And just like, he didn't mean for it to be a whole retcon, why do they look different things? Just I'm just updating the look.
It shouldn't be, yeah.
Then you go forward to, Trouble, Tribbles, and Trials and Tribulations, and Worf says that thing.
Right, yeah, which just ruins everything.
Kristen brought that up. I don't think it ruins it as much.
Yeah.
It's just another little tweak.
It just muddies things.
It muddies the waters. And then, then Enterprise goes back and brings in the augment virus, which muddies the waters a lot more. And And the way I've grown on this issue is like, I used to be like, oh, I can't believe Enterprise did that, even though I didn't watch it. Fuck that. And then, But then later I'm like, you know what? I'm down with the augment virus. And at the beginning of Discovery, even I was like, a lot of people are like, fuck this. They're changing the look. And then now it feels like Discovery even seems to be this thing that they said they were doing, which I didn't really believe they were doing it at first, which they may or may not have been, but it feels like they are on track to be doing that now, to where they are setting it up to where it gets back to the canon, quote unquote, of the original series. And for me, at first I was kind of annoyed by that, but my growth in that is that I'm actually down for them to retcon this future history of Star Trek is fluid. And the fact that they want to say, like, if you're going to be a real like hard sci-fi nerd about it, then it doesn't make sense that the original series would be technologically backwards from where we are today.
Yeah.
Right.
And then so now if they want to do this, and that's what you can make an argument, that's what Discovery is doing, is saying, well, you know what? It's not. It was never less advanced than we are today, but we're setting up these canon reasons for why, they did have robots and they did have 3D communication, and they did have all this stuff, because why wouldn't they? Because technically we like to believe that Star Trek is our own future, so why would they not have the stuff that we don't have?
Right.
So, and then Star Trek Discovery seems to be setting that up rather well, and I even have theories to why, Arium, how that could be setting up things to get back to the status quo that we have.
Sure.
But I'll talk
so something about just kind of just back to this like central issue, like canon versus the current day versus the TOS. I'm curious if anyone kind of caught it this way, but so you had that previously on Star Trek, which was all clips from the cage from the original series. And it was very like in the old style with the original music and obviously the original footage. Mm-hmm. The way that it ended, it was very abrupt, and it like snapped to Anson Mount Pike sort of kind of shaking his head as though he had been like the one seeing this as well. And I'm not going to go as like crazy cuckoo as suggesting that like he saw a previously on Star Trek montage. But I thought perhaps there could be the implication that, like, what we were to understand is that the original series footage we were seeing is sort of the events of the cage as Pike is remembering them through the filter of, the Telosian mental
stuff. I think that's what I was... Yeah, I mean, jumping right to Pike after showing those, like, these things that happened to him, I think it makes sense that he's remembering them. I think that's tied even more with like, when the girl comes to him at towards the end of the episode, like and it's clear that like he's thought about these events a lot.
Yeah. And that's actually a little bit in line with one of the favorite fan theories before even people got all butthurt about the augment virus and everything, about why the original series, one fun theory was like, oh, it's not meant to be a literal representation of how the future looked. It's like they're putting on a reenactment. It's like a captain's log version of a recreation of the captain's log, so it might not look like the actual... It actually happened. That was like a fun theory of like fan fiction writers to do.
That's fun, right? Because like starting each episode with a captain's log, the implication could be that like the whole episode you're seeing is the captain's log.
Right.
It's not, right. They're not filming the events in real time per se, but like, oh, that's fun. I like that.
Though
It's cute.
it is funny because in the original series, and I think in the menagerie, like they are viewing like footage from the they like are sitting at this tribunal for Spock, and they are watching what they say is the log of the mission, and it's literally the footage of the pilot. And I think at one point someone said, I wish I remember this better, but someone says like, how did you get this footage? Like, what is this? And I think the implication is that later on it was all like a Telosian illusion. So that I don't know. I feel like that supports that theory that like the fact that the Telosians kind of use the memories of Pike and Spock to kind of create effectively a the episode of Star Trek as a record of that people were watching. I don't know. I don't have all the pieces like quite together.
Right.
I like to imagine it was all done The Office style.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like something to get like, oh, that's the canon explanation. It's a fun headcanon way to do it.
Exactly.
These are just, whatever.
I appreciate that. But I mean, I guess we should talk about the rest of the episode.
I was about to say, now that we've got all this business preliminary previously on Discovery Home Companion talk out of the way, does anybody want to give us a brief synopsis of the episode?
At some point, Wade, my feelings are going to get hurt.
I know. I'm sorry.
I mean, I guess I can. I feel really ill-equipped to do it, but I can.
Do it.
All right. So, there's spaceships.
Okay, this is gonna be real fast.
No, so I guess Section 31's mad that they lost Spock, which makes sense, and Pike's like, we gotta find them, but Section 31's like, nah, just hang out and find stuff from the probe because we don't want you to go find them because we're gonna find them.
Yeah, just a pretense, stay here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. They're lying to them, and Ash Tyler reveals that he and Michael had a romantic relationship, which I definitely assumed was like a known entity to Pike. I guess like there was no reason for me to think he knew that, but I definitely thought he knew that already.
They didn't file with HR, and he didn't bring up that report.
Right. Yeah, I guess they didn't fill out those forms. But so he learns that, and he's, understandably not thrilled about it, but that happens. Anthony Rapp's boyfriend is being weird. He's not adjusting well.
He is not.
No, he's not doing great, which is fair. He was dead.
Oh, yeah.
And now he's a spore person.
Yeah,
so
it's very traumatic.
That's hard.
Yeah, that's hard.
I could see that being difficult.
That'd ruin anyone's day.
Right. So Michael and Spock end up on Talos 4, which, has all these implications that we talked about from earlier. And they're greeted by the pretty blonde lady whose big head dad said she couldn't be with Pike.
Vina.
Yeah, sure, I buy it. And she's like, oh, cool, like Spock's back. Is Pike here? And they're like, no. And she's like, oh, damn. So she takes them down to the Telosians, who, and this, I mean, really was like the most perplexing thing to me. They're like, we'll fix Spock, but you need to pay us with this memory.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, that was weird.
So they're like, we need to jerk off to this memory of the bad thing
right?
that you did.
We just like to watch.
Right? Yeah, that all felt like very unpleasant to me. But so she agrees, so they fix, and I get like they fix Spock by just going into his brain.
Yeah, by reasons that by
right,
because they do. Okay, they just do.
They do. Yeah, Spock's fixed and everybody's happy.
It's like Professor X, and they're advanced enough telepaths that like they can basically go in and like debug software of the brain.
Oh yeah,
I get that.
I had no issue with it.
They didn't even show them doing any of it though. They're just like, all right, you're fine, which is fine, I guess.
Right, that's right. I was like waiting for them to fix Spock. And then they were like, and then Spock starts talking. And I'm like, they did it. They did it while she was asleep from viewing his memories. I'm like,
I guess so.
All right, yeah, I'm fine with it. That's all good.
Sure.
And then, they call Pike with their, with their fancy telepathy.
Cerebro contacts.
Yeah, exactly. Cerebro calls him, and the lady goes, and she's like, "You listen, man. Like things are bad. You gotta talk to Michael." And Michael's like, "You gotta come get us." And Pike's like, all right, but somebody's messing with the spore drive.
Oh, I bet it was that Ash Tyler. But wait.
Oh, but wait, maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was the very obviously evil robot lady,
right.
who's been corrupted by the space drone, whatever,
The Sentinel from the Matrix.
Yeah, exactly. So she's
even got Brainiac's little 3-dot.
Yeah, she does.
Yeah, she really does. It's. I'm like, all right, this is all a little bit on the nose, but fine.
Sure.
I'm down.
Yeah.
Whatever. So she's messing with stuff, so they can't just spore drive to Talos Force. They have to do some space stuff, and they get there. And meanwhile, Anthony, what's the guy's name? The guy who's back from the dead.
Colbert.
Sorry, yes. So Hugh fights Tyler, and I thought this was neat because we discussed whether they were actually going to have Sexy Fishman be different now that he's like transformed, and he did, and him letting them fight, I thought was like a really interesting, like showing that he's different now.
Right. Pike even calls him out, like, you wouldn't have done that before, right? It's like,
Yeah.
Exactly. I like that. I like that they're staying true to what they've done.
Yeah, I'm really over the high school lunch scenes, but it is fine. Like,
Yes.
Yeah.
whatever. Like, ooh, fight. Let him do it.
Yeah.
Saru was also sarcastic, which I found kind of not surprising given the changes, but like something very different that has happened to him.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, I don't know. I'm waiting for him to like show up in a leather jacket and punch a jukebox. Like he's definitely different now.
Such a bad boy now.
So I don't know. And then so they get Michael and Spock by using some Telosian magic to make Section 31 think they got them, which is just another Michelle Yeoh way of becoming the head of this ship.
Right,
She's trying to
right.
get that guy out of there, and it seems like it's going to work.
yep.
She's good at it.
And now the Discovery's on the run.
Yeah, because you glossed over the big, huge fallout between Michael and Spock was
Oh God! Well,
not did they fuck. It was just like she called him the H word, and
Right.
she white fanged him.
I was gonna
Yeah,
say
yep.
she harried and Henderson to him.
Yeah,
Just
go
go.
on, get out of here.
just go.
No, but I love you. No, you don't. You're incapable of love, you little. And then and apparently half breed is like the N word for half Vulcans or something, because
Gotcha.
that's
Well,
that makes sense.
Yeah, because Kirk calls him at once to like piss him off in the original series. And,
he
and
calls
it's
him
like,
that whole. I was like, Bones has a lot to answer for, man. He's like totally some problematic language in the 60s, huh?
Who knew?
It definitely is not treated with that level of gravity in the original series.
Yeah, like this whole thing all right. And I talked up front about how I don't actually care that they're re-envisioning this stuff, and it's fine.
Yeah.
Sure.
I guess Ethan Peck is doing as good a job as you can expect from somebody being Spock now, but I still don't like it. I still you're not Nimoy, and
Yeah.
that's an unfair. I'm putting him in an unfair situation.
Sure.
But you know what the producers did too, but because people say he sounds like Spock, and I've seen people on the
No.
internet, and I disagree. I mean,
No,
it's-
I
Yeah, I
agree.
disagree as well.
I agree with you disagreeing.
Yeah.
I still go back to that first thing you heard from him, where it sounded like that voice memo sounded like a recreation of Leonard Nimoy, and then like, oh,
Yeah.
wish they could do that. I guess that was their way of the way that they blend in talking alien into the universal translator until they're talking English. I don't know. That's my problem. But it's their problem for doing that on the show in the first place, but I'll get over it, but it still bugged me. But the thing with their falling out, this huge thing that's been building up for 8 episodes,
Yeah.
was this unforgivable thing that she did was she yelled at her brother. What siblings haven't had
Right.
a horrible fight where
Yeah.
they say nasty
Especially
things?
like adopt, foster siblings,
Right,
that's
right.
always a more difficult situation.
Yeah. So and then Spock is I can never forget. She's like, oh, you needed me here to someone. Yes, I needed someone who knew the context of my life. And she's like, oh, so you need me, huh? It's like, no, fuck you, sister. I don't actually need you anymore, and I don't forgive you for that thing. And I was like,
Right, but then he's immediately like,
Oh, it was logical.
But I understand why you did it. It was logical. And then like, she feels bad because he's like, and that made me suppress all of my human parts, and now I am just logic.
Yeah.
And we're like, oh, okay.
It's like, all right, fine.
So there's your answer to like, how did Spock become Spock?
Yeah, like it creates this whole other thing, the whole character of Spock over all the franchise.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's like whether it's actually well done or not. I mean, I'm not going to even try to argue merits of it.
So
It's just annoying.
Here's the thing: if they had from the very beginning just had Michael say, Spock and I have not been close for a long time because one time I ran away, and because I was running away, I said some really vicious things to him that he's never really forgiven me for. I think that would have made all of this less, kind of eye-rolly than treating it as some big mystery, some big reveal.
Right.
That, again, in the end, Harry and the Hendersons, who knew?
Yeah.
But
it's like it feels like almost they wrote a big thing that they weren't sure what they were going to do with it.
it was like a place. There was a placeholder. They were like, insert plot twist here.
Yeah, and then they got there and like, oh, well, shit. We can't make them fuck. Which I still think they should have done that.
Cowards.
Because that would have been the one thing I would have believed.
Yes.
I mean,
okay.
I think it would have been even better if it had just been like, if she hadn't said anything mean to him, but if they did more with like him wanting to run away too, because he didn't feel like he was part, like because of his half human, half Vulcan situation, and if she just abandoned,
that plays better. I think. I
think that would have. Yeah.
Between that and Saru, this show can't really even wrap its head around the idea that a sibling leaving,
right?
That taking the other sibling with you would be a thing that anyone ever thought about. Like Saru leaving his sister and the brightest star was still weird to me.
It's interesting commonality there.
Yeah.
I just, again, even with like your better version, Sean, I just feel like treating it as a mystery just completely took all the air out of it. Like,
oh no, I agree with you 100%. I don't think they should have done any of this again, unless like, the reveal was that Michael killed Cybok, or
right.
that,
right.
Or they fucked, and she ran away. Like, those were your two options.
Oh, I know what they should have done.
And they couldn't have gotten Sean Connery.
Right.
Oh, wait, what were you going to say, Wade?
She should not have fucked Spock, but she should have...
She should have fucked Cybok.
Cybok just staring at, and then
right.
baby Spock sneaks into the bedroom.
He opens the door a little bit, and the door's ajar, and he and Michael make eye contact, and she just stares at him the whole time.
Yeah, and just hold it to a long time, much more longer than, and it's just weird.
Oh, I would have loved that so much.
And no wonder she couldn't tell her mom about that.
Right? I fucked your other secret child.
Yeah. Well, technically, Cybok is not hers.
It's Sarek's, right?
Oh, just Sarek.
Yeah, well, it's Sarek's. Because Cybok is a full Vulcan who embraced his emotion.
Oh, okay.
I see.
Oh, interesting. I haven't seen any of the original movies.
I've never seen the one where he shows up.
Yeah. Oh,
I am fascinated by the fact that this was a part meant for Sean Connery, though. I cannot wait to watch that movie.
Oh, what a reveal!
With that knowledge.
Yeah. Oh, another like, it's not what the show was doing, but the way I chose to read it, where before they get to Talos Ford and there's a black hole illusion, they're having a slap fight to get the controls, which is kind of fun sibling thing.
Yeah.
But when Michael says, "Well, Spock, we're really through the looking glass now, aren't we?"
Yeah.
And then he has like a head roll, like, because he's damaged, I guess. But for me, I just read it as like, oh fuck.
Oh God damn. This Lewis Carroll horse shit again.
Enough with this book. Shut up.
There are other books, right, Michael? Right.
Yeah, his head lolls back and he's like, oh God, this again. But I mean, that's the way I chose to view that, but it's not what the show meant.
Yeah, I agree.
I
that's
agree.
my headcanon, is that Spock is like, oh, Jesus.
He's exasperated.
So just like a little thing just around Talos Ford that I also really liked, just an attention to detail. The singing flowers that have basically the same noise as the teleporter.
Oh, yeah.
Like those are in the Menagerie and Cage episode, so I really liked that they like brought those back. And on a because Michelle Yeoh also, Giorgio also brings it up, and she's like, "Oh yeah, those Telosians tried this shit in my universe, and I put a stop to that by like destroying the planet."
Oh yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, that's a great little detail.
Yeah.
She's like, why don't you guys blow more shit up?
right. Well, I ain't afraid of genocide.
Yeah.
We learned that last season anyway. But yeah, there's a lot of little callbacks, like and then at the end of the episode, Pike is like, "Spock, is that a smile I see?"
It's like, yes,
it
is.
Well, that's technically kind of a callback to the cage as well, because Spock, like Leonard Nimoy Spock, smiles when they're looking at the singing flowers in the pilot of this, but he never smiles ever again on the original series.
Okay.
So it's kind
That's
of
funny.
a callback to that. And
That's cool. That's neat.
yeah, and another, like, and it's we get corroboration that people already knew on the internet, I guess, that the cage was 3 years ago.
Yes.
And we cut from, like, Pike has aged in those 3 years. He's gone gray. And
he got hot.
yeah, he was all right back then. He's aged, and then Spock has de-aged.
Right. Yeah.
But
Considerably.
Well,
Yeah.
to be fair, Leonard Nimoy is like one of those people that like he's just looked 35 his entire life, like even
Sure.
from like up until like his later years, like he just
Right.
Yeah,
looked-
he's got a wizened old face.
Exactly.
Right, which is kind of
He
why
was young.
I still resent Hot Spock a little to an extent, which, I mean, I guess
Yeah.
I can't blame Ethan Peck. I just don't like him. And I don't like it. And, I'm the baby here. That's fine.
I liked the acknowledgement of the beard.
Oh, yeah.
That line, like, do you really think that beard's working? And then he's sort of like, she's like, he like touched the beard and thought about it.
Yeah.
He's like, oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Yeah.
because full Vulcans can't grow beards, right?
I don't know. I'm not sure, actually. They're so disciplined that they
They might
always
choose
shave.
not to because facial hair is illogical.
Yeah, they definitely.
yeah.
I mean, he can. I mean, Mirror Spock had a goatee. That's classic.
Oh, that's right. Okay, maybe I'm probably remembering it wrong then.
Yeah.
So
I think you just don't see them because they're so disciplined. Oh, and Cybok had facial
Yeah.
hair. If we're going back to
oh,
that.
Oh, there you go.
That was right. So
full Vulcan.
Because he was
Cybok.
emotional. I guess it's just when they get emotional, their hair just pops out.
Right. That's funny.
the follicles are activated by emotion.
Yes, clearly.
So how can they deal with this Hugh thing? Like,
Well,
where does this go?
I think where I think it should go. I mean, maybe I just think everybody should be having sex with everybody else. But that I mean,
Tyler
him
should
and
fuck.
I mean, I'm not projecting to say that was quite the homoerotic fight, right?
Oh, it was.
Like-
Oh yeah.
And I would love another way to just retcon Star Trek going forward. You know what? And just like have him and Tyler just get together and don't even make it a thing of like, oh, you like dudes too, Tyler? Just like, oh yeah, oh, it's just, oh, in the future, everybody's a little bit gay. And we just don't.
Well, everybody should be, you know.
And just retcon it. Even in the original series, they just didn't talk about it because it was just
Right.
But I mean,
Now I do have a Tyler question. Is Hugh like, is his assertion correct that like Voke is in there and could come out, or is that just like not an option?
So this actually reminds me a lot of an episode of Buffy where you just cliff notes. There's a vampire named Spike on the show who
I know Spike.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So like Spike gets a soul later in the series, and there's a character that comes along. I think his name's Robin, whose mother was who was a Slayer, who was killed by Spike in the 70s.
Right.
And the whole episode kind of revolves around like Robin accepts the premise that like, yes, this vampire with the soul is not the thing that killed my mother.
Yeah.
I want to punish that thing, and so he tries to kind of turn Spike feral,
Right.
so he can actually
Yeah.
like he knows that like he won't get any satisfaction from taking it out on like what is essentially a different person.
yeah, I mean, I think they've been ham-fisted. They haven't known what the fuck they're doing with that character, and I think they're trying to settle on that he's a Mr. Hyde.
Yeah.
Possibly because he
Gotcha,
was Mr.
okay.
Hyde in that other show.
I feel like at some point we have to see that.
Yeah.
Right.
Like if that's what's happening.
Saru in this episode when he's being sarcastic, he says that Tyler is a human with a Kling. No, he said
human
he's
with a Klingon like bonded to his bones.
Grafted,
or something.
yeah. So he said he's a human with a Klingon grafted onto his bones, and I actually thought it was the opposite, that
Yeah, exactly.
the physical being is Voke, and they like shaved down his bones and organs and all that. Like
it definitely was that, and I feel like they're trying to reverse it a little bit to say that he's mostly Tyler, but with Vok inside. Well, and it feels like that's the way they're going. And
and I've asked this before, but have they ever established what happened to the original Tyler?
No, that he was captured at some point during the war.
Maybe they're trying to retcon that, like, he is the original Tyler, but he's had Vok grafted onto him.
Yeah, it seems like they're trying to pivot to where that's the... And, you know, the thing with that character is they haven't been clear on it. So now they can kind of... They're trying to... It feels like they're trying to pivot to, like, make that clearer. And, okay, I guess, like, if they just... You know what? Season 1 sucked. Fine, but like if they can just find something and settle on, I'm all right.
Yeah, exactly. If they want to just like do the brute force action of like, no, it's Tyler, and they grafted Vok onto him, like, fine, I'll accept that. I'm not gonna be like continuity.
It's like we discussed last week, like with the show reaching sort of like a stasis of being like able to be good and then sometimes be great. Like, to do that, you have to make decisions like
right,
that.
exactly.
Like, the show needs to know, like, if this is what he is, then that has to be what he is. Like, changing it is what frustrates us. And treating it with ambiguity is frustrating. Like, if you're going to reach this point, which, like, this episode, I think, again, shows that, like, Discovery has. You know, like, there was plenty of room for this episode to be a hot mess, and it wasn't. No. You know, like, they didn't do the things that it used to do that made it bad. Like I liked this episode. I thought it was a good episode.
Yeah. The hot mess for me was just the white fang of it all. I
hated that for sure.
Oh yeah, no. I agree 100%. There's certainly, but I think that is like stuff that they're saddled with from earlier. That's why you end up, like this new creative team seems to at least know like how this show can be good.
They seem to be. Yeah,
and I think they just have to wrap up those loose ends. They're like, fine, like, let's do it. Like, this is why they're fighting. It's stupid. It can't live up to the viewers' expectations. It's out of the way. Let's move on with whatever happens next.
Well, I will say a funny thing that with the Tyler and Hugh thing, like, or even Spock, when they're fighting over whether to bring in Spock for killing those 3 people.
Right.
And then Ash is like, oh, no, you don't understand. When people can go crazy and do things you don't, that, and he needs to be held responsible for killing those people because, that's a thing that people can do. They can break and do things you don't expect. And he needs to be held responsible.
Right.
Just like I was.
Right.
But...
Yeah,
except
you got a promotion?
Yeah.
Space CIA? Like, I don't...
Way to double standard, you that douche.
Yeah.
So, I think, 2 things. One, we should briefly talk about Spock's revelation that, like, he's interacted with the Angel at least twice. Once when it warned him that, a Vulcan bear was going to...
the Starship Trooper bug was going to eat his adopted sister.
And so... we have that, and then later on, he's like beckoned by the Angel to a planet, and he mind melds in a way that does not reveal anything about the Angel's identity beyond the fact that it is human. Which, I mean, I feel like we assumed that anyway, but it rules out Saru and maybe other pure alien races.
Boy, what if Saru had been the Angel?
I mean, that'd be wild.
That would have been a choice.
He's too tall.
He is.
So.
Yeah.
That Angel has hips. He does not.
So I think, given the new data points we have in the Angel, I feel like we can update our predictions a little bit, or at least update our expectations about who it's going to end up being. Like, one, the Angel is someone who, at the very least, has a self-interest in keeping Michael Burnham alive. Now, is that because it's Michael herself, and she knew that at one point she, like, the Starship Trooper bug almost killed her, and that like she needed to save it? Kind of I'm trying to think of a good time travel analog for this. But
this is like a time loop where she knows it because she saved herself.
Yeah, she's always been there to help herself. Or is it? I still think my Tyler theory could still hold because it's possible that Michael told her. Or told Tyler the story that, like, oh, when I was a kid, I ran away from home and I almost got killed. Then Spock obviously still in the running for the same reasons. Like, he knew this happened. He knew when it happened.
Except it's a human, not a half Vulcan. So.
Well, he said he knew the mind was human. To me that doesn't, like, that leaves plenty of room for the writers to be like, well, he's half human. Like, the mind is human.
I mean, sure, you're not wrong.
Yeah.
But my money's still on
Michael.
Even when he mind melds with it, they do a flash to where she's mind melding with it, and she says your mind to my mind. I mean, that partly is because she's living through the simulation that the Telosians are doing to get the memories, but it could also be because she's the one that he's mind melding.
I still think it's Michelle Yeoh.
Okay.
I mean, that would be super interesting. That would be even if it's mirror universe and not the original Giorgio, I think that'd be a good that'd be a genuinely interesting twist.
Right. It's going to be somebody we know, right?
Yeah, I think
So-
It has to be someone
I think they
we
have
know.
absolutely set up the expectation that it's someone we know.
I mean, it could be Scotty,
Sure.
Well, I feel like again, the fact that the angel went back to save Michael, I feel like that alone indicates that it is someone
Right.
either we have already met or will meet in the next episode or something.
And having him on a frozen planet like that, is that a callback to the 2009 Spock?
Yeah, to Nimoy.
Yep.
Yeah.
I would not be surprised if that was intentional.
And then the fact that the alien, the big bad of this season, I guess, are the Reapers from the Mass Effect games.
Exactly.
Because I was like,
mean-
that's totally. It's people have made references to that. They've Mass Effect the shit out of this show.
Oh, I mean, I've said it myself.
and they're totally Reapers, right?
I mean,
Yeah, I mean, the spore drive is just a mass relay.
yeah.
It's
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's aliens that are merged with technology coming to destroy civilizations and sentient life.
That's funny.
I guess I wasn't obviously I did not have the wealth of Star Trek knowledge I did now when I was playing the Mass Effect games. Was there ever a criticism of the Reapers as sort of a facsimile of the Borg? They're not.
There was a lot of people. I mean, Mass Effect is
it's very Star Trek.
just swims in Star Trek references. I mean, because it's just a sci-fi spacefaring
Yeah.
setting,
Sure.
So I don't know.
It's also great.
Yeah,
Oh my god!
but,
Mass Effect. I mean, even the endings aside, the
Right.
fantastic series.
But the Reapers are huge, giant ships too.
So they're like Lovecraftian leviathans that take life and kind of
Right.
try and meld it with their own tech.
Oh, you mean like these cephalopods that Tilly has to explain to Ash what that is?
Yeah.
That was dumb.
Yeah.
He doesn't know what a cephalopod is.
Well, he's part
Come on.
Vulcan or something. I don't know.
Right,
He didn't
I
grow
guess,
up.
yeah.
He grew up on and maybe the original Tyler is not from Earth. He's from a colony.
Sure.
Well, also, I mean, it's not. I guess if you're at Starfleet, you should probably know these kinds of things. But also,
Yeah.
If I walked up to a random person and asked them to define cephalopod, I would not be aghast if they did not know.
I would. I hold people to a higher standard.
They should. Yeah. It just means that Ash is a dummy, I guess. But
I want a Jimmy Kimmel segment where he goes around L.A. asking people what cephalopods are. Let's watch people be dumb.
Let's jaywalk this shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd watch Billy Eichner do that. That would be amazing.
Oh, yeah.
That'd be funny.
What else?
I mean, I guess it is what it is, but we haven't talked at all about the actual Telosians and the blonde chick and any of that.
Oh, yeah. What?
Well,
The whole thing. How did you guys having seen this the cage and the menage a trois, how do you feel about the Telosian portrayal in this?
may I wait?
No. Go ahead.
Okay.
I was actually asking Wade.
Okay. All right.
No, go ahead, Glenn. Whatever.
No, I was just gonna say. So, what happens after this point in the menagerie, which is the original series episode that's not the pilot? Pike, gets injured, is in the beep boop wheelchair, and Spock basically moves heaven and earth to get Pike to Talos 4, so that because you saw how Avina, the blonde lady is, she's
they can make him not in the wheelchair.
Exactly. And even in that episode, I found it strange that why would he take them back? Because the whole thing is they want to basically make a human zoo. They want to have a breeding pair of humans for observation and to learn. They're clearly hungry for information.
They're horny for it even.
Yeah. This episode, so the Discovery episode, I feel actually did a good job of kind of at least shifting the context for all this in a little bit, where there is clearly some level of trust that's both Spock and Pike put in the Telosians. Even if they left the planet, they left Vina there. Pike very like in the episode, in the like original pilot episode in the menagerie, I don't quite buy that like Pike still has feelings for Vina. Like it's kind of all.
I mean, it's flimsy, like 1960s, like women, like our hot girl,
Right.
yeah, like, and she's a kind of flimsy character in a lot of ways.
Side note: the Pike in the pilot, like played by I believe the actor's name is Jeffrey Hunter, super misogynistic.
Oh yeah,
like,
he's like, oh, I can't get used to having women on the.
yeah, right. It's like the yeoman
Yeesh.
who keeps bringing him his reports. He always gets mad at her when he sees. It's like, oh, didn't I tell you you're not supposed to be on the deck with your women things? It's
Yeah.
like, oh,
Well, that does not feel Star Trek-y at all.
no, and it doesn't. And I'm glad that they have basically retconned that out of existence because, that had no place. But a side note. But I do think that the episode did a good job of like again establishing that like the Telosians, even if they are weird, even if they don't fully understand like the concept of personal sovereignty, like they are for the most part benevolent. Like they don't have any actual like malevolent plans. Like they
I think if anything they're chaotic neutral.
yeah, honestly
yeah.
that's a perfect alignment for them.
Yeah, I mean, they were fine in this. I honestly think they looked cooler in the original series makeup than they did in this.
I appreciate that they made them look a little bit more alien.
I mean, they put an extra ridge on their nose because
Right.
it's Star Trek, I guess. But
yeah,
you know.
well, it's I so many aliens in the original series are just people, and
Right,
so
but the practical effect with their big brains and the throbbing veins on them,
yeah,
it
that
looked
was
pretty good
they
for
did
the
a good
time.
job in the original series. They do a good job with that.
I mean, they look fine in this too. I'm not mad that they updated the look of anything.
Yeah, I get why they did.
yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I thought this was an interesting like kind of recontextualization of the Cage Menagerie.
Yeah. Talking about them like moving towards getting back towards the status quo. This is a theory of mine for Brainiac Arium.
Oy.
Is like she's a technological augment,
Right.
And then like, okay, maybe this is why we don't see this kind of thing in Star Trek going forward.
Oh, like people are
They're susceptible to hacking.
Right.
Yeah.
There's a reason we don't have biological augments because of Khan, and we don't allow this degree of technological augments with AI and stuff because, Arium almost lets the Reapers loose on the whole galaxy.
Right.
I could see
Yeah.
that would make sense. Another side note, I just want to say I've seen the Khan episode now, and I am so mad at how they portrayed him in the J.J. Abrams movie. Like, I could talk a whole episode, but I won't.
Right. Yeah.
So I guess the implication is that like so the future, the Reapers know that their potential future is being fucked with. Like, is that sort of like what do you guys think that's what's happening?
Maybe.
Like that's
Yeah,
why
that could-
they're working to set things right.
Yeah, I could see that. Like they know the Angel's like doing whatever it's doing, and they're like, okay, we gotta go back and try and stop. Like it's Terminator. It's basically like they know that like there's the timeline's getting fucked with.
Right. And then somehow, I mean, I guess that could portray Arium as if she turns out to be the Angel somehow after she rejects her possession or whatever.
Sure.
It's like somebody in the future
Oh, interesting.
that is, because there's the bad guy Reapers, and then the Angel is also from the future, presumably, whether it's someone we know, it's probably someone we know, who takes that advanced tech to come back and, John Connor, this stuff, like,
Right.
Yeah.
Would Arium? Do you know if Arium's like enhancements? Will she live forever? Is she robot enough?
I have no idea.
I could see that being a plot
Because
point.
it'd be interesting if like the Angel. I don't think she's the Angel. I think she's too small a character.
Right, yeah.
But I think it'd be cool if I think right now we're assuming that the Angel is the Angel via time travel shenanigans, and obviously the Angel comes back via time travel. But I think we would assume jumps forward through time travel because none of these characters will be alive.
Right.
All those years from now. But if it is Arium and it's just because she lived forever and saw everything that happened, I don't know, that'd be interesting.
Yeah.
I could see that.
Yeah.
We'll find out. I assume.
Again, definitely not what they're gonna do.
Right.
I don't know. It'd be something.
Yeah. I think that's pretty much. Well, I'm just very excited for my joke. I don't want to forget to share it.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I mean, and then at the end, they go on the lam because Section 31's after them and say goodnight, Spock. And
they're banned on the run now.
yeah.
Do you think Section 31 killed those guys that Spock didn't kill.
I think that's the implication.
Yeah.
I presume that Section 31 is also going to be the big bad of the season too, and
Which I like because like we were talking about, it does like allow for us to get to the place where Section 31 is underground.
Right, and not, like you said, not like displaying their badges. And
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, I kind of like all this setup. Like the Spock stuff, yeah, whatever. But like overall, like there's big stakes. There's like a very clear dynamic that's formed now. If this is like kind of the equivalent of going to the mirror universe in the first season, like I'm for it. I like it.
Yeah. I wonder if the show's like too crowded in the back half now. I wonder if like with Hugh and Spock like both on board taking up time, like doing that. I mean, Tilly had literally one line, and Tilly had her arc, and it was up and down, but like I don't want Tilly to get completely lost in the shuffle.
No, but I love supporting actor Tilly maybe the most.
I do
but
too.
I think Tilly's great. Yeah,
Tilly's great. Her just like showing up and being like, "Come into my office. This is what a cephalopod is. I'm gonna fuck off now." Like it was fun, but yeah, I just don't want those side characters to
guys
be overshadowed.
Talk about things being crowded. Tell you what. Stop shining this fucking light in my eyes. For fuck's sake.
God.
There's so much lens. Like, it's I don't...
Benny mentioned this, yeah.
Maybe it was here the whole time, or maybe it's just building up for me, but, like, it is just ridiculous.
Yeah.
No, there was a lot this episode. They overdid it.
Like, every time Pike is talking and is like... And he's got Vina over his shoulder, and because he's being pathed with, they use even more light, and it's like you can't even see his face for all this light that's flash. Quit shining light in my eyes. Directors, just stop.
I agree.
No more lens flare. Oh shit, I had something else to add. Oh, where's Tig?
I did see. Did you see her kids, her robot creations?
Oh, really? Oh, I didn't notice that.
Could be, or they could be just random cleaner droids like in Star Wars. But when Hugh and
yeah, they're like the little janitor robots.
Oh, that's right.
Well, I mean, I don't know what they are, but when they're having their breakup scene in the lunchroom, Hugh and Stamets, the opening, because there's always something busy happening on screen.
Always, man.
Always, yeah. If it's not the light shining in your eyes,
it's the camera spinning.
Yeah, it's tilting on the turbo lift for no reason.
Yeah, holy shit.
And then they had Tig's little kids fly in there, and
which is fun. Like that,
that was like a scene transition. It's fine. Yeah.
Yeah, just have that instead of like always having to have a dynamic camera, man. Like a static camera on a scene where people are just talking or going up an elevator is fucking fine.
Yeah. Fine, yeah. Just reverse shot.
Yeah,
it's fine. It's worked for years. It works just fine. You don't have to recreate the wheel here.
It's visually exhausting, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wipes you out.
All right, but overall, it was a fine episode. They seem to be, they're getting their legs, and
I dug it.
Yeah, me too.
They're getting consistency, but so that's the best I can ask for.
Yeah, I think it's one that maybe benefits from not having seen those other episodes. Like, I know they had to do work for me to understand, like, the previously on and all of that, but like,
right.
I don't know. I liked sort of being able to come from like a place of virtual ignorance about it and experience this world and this dynamic fresh. I thought it was interesting. Sure. It worked. What I'm saying is that it works even if you haven't seen those episodes. So
that's good.
There's my perspective.
Cool. All right. Yeah, I think
Glenn has a joke.
I'm so excited for this.
Yeah, I've been waiting for it and cutting you off when you try to do it. And
okay. So, in a previous episode, listeners may remember that I suggested jokingly the concept of Section 31 in the Mirror Universe being an organization that secretly does good deeds while everyone else in the universe is terrible.
Right.
I have since concluded that this should be one of the new spin-offs that they create. So, CBS should create a show about the Section 31 of the Mirror Universe and the Terran Empire that goes around doing good deeds and helping people and generally being lighthearted. Maybe it could be like one of the animated shows. And guys, you know what the show is going to be called?
What?
Section 30 Fun.
30 Fun. Get it?
Section 30
Worth
Fun.
every second of waiting.
I'm glad.
I mean, it's a great joke.
Right.
I want to be mad so badly, but I'm not.
Sean,
I can't.
I'm mad. It's okay. I'm mad at myself.
Yeah, no good. I mean, yeah, good.
Well, I don't know where else we can go from that. That's like, how do you top that? I feel like that's the end of the show now.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I'm way too proud of it.
All right. Yeah. So, all right, we'll wrap it up then. Got any plugs about how's your Greek restaurant?
It's good. I went this week. Really, I'm not exciting. I got a hero pita.
Standard.
I pulled the onions off of it. I don't love crispy on a sandwich. Like, I never like crisp lettuce on a sandwich. I never like the onion. I sort of like a crunch in a sandwich bothers me.
All right,
which I know
that's
is
great to
unique.
hear.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But yeah, go to Little Greek, everybody. It's
Great.
great.
All right.
I know you have a lot of listeners in the Central and South Florida region.
Sure.
so,
Sorry.
Yeah. Everybody enjoy.
All right. You heard that, and Glenn has a QED&D with Glenn and Wade show.
It's going good. My co-host is great. He's a good dude.
It's all right.
And I also, guys, I just want to plug that joke again. Just Section 30 fun. Get
Section
a
30
petition
fun.
going. CBS, make it happen.
All right.
No, we're gonna call it. We're gonna call it back 3 minutes later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. You call
That is a choice.
You have-
In seriousness, at QED&D on Twitter and Instagram, please.
All right.
It's a great fun show, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's great.
Yeah, if you have feedback, call our joke hotline at 917-408-3898.
3FUN.
Yeah.
That's not true. That's not true.
Go to kickersofelves.com for the website and all the other shows we do, and rate and review us and do all the things that every show asks you to do, because it does help.
Let us know who you think the angel is.
Yeah. All your theories and whatnot.
Yeah.
I would love to hear them. But, all right. That's it.
Yeah. Bye.
Somebody give us a way to line the close out on. I maybe you even want to reiterate one, Glenn.
No, I'm gonna go out on a high note. Just
Say wait, I got it.
okay, go.
Say goodbye, Spock.
Goodbye, Spock.
Goodbye, Spock.
This has been a podcast.
Yay.
Subscribe to us on iTunes or Stitcher or Caster or Fuckcast or Podsucker. Review us on iTunes. Also grab a bit of fame for yourself by calling us at 917-408-3898 and leaving us a message. We play that shit on air. Or email us at rulesofacquisitionpodcast@gmail.com. Also, listen to our Deep Space Nine podcast, Rules of Acquisition. It is pretty amazing, but you may not yet be ready for its awesome amazingness. Assess your personal awesomeness appropriately.
Yeah, I mean, we'll be organic about it. We'll see how it's going. I am also recording.
All right. Good to go.
Yeah, I suppose I am.
I suppose so.
I suppose. I'm just gonna shove my head in this box.
Hey,
yeah.
I need. That's one of those like soundproof boxes.
Yeah. I mean, I made it.
It's like a.
Oh, you did. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's just lined with
egg crate.
like acoustic foam that I bought on Amazon. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know. I wanna do one of those. I feel like I get the dogs from the other room. I get the
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I have one that's like kind of like a what do you call those, like dressing barriers, like that are three like tall planks.
Right. So yours is a hard.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but it's lined with that same like acoustic foam egg crate stuff.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen them like you can just buy the whole like box set up on Amazon. I don't,
Yeah, exactly.
They're not terrible. So
no. It's
My Brooklyn podcast studio.
authentic.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Well, I am recording, so I'm good to go.
Recording.
Okay. Yeah. All right. I'll count down and clap, and we'll just just do it, huh?
Cool.
All right. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Good clap.
All right. Yeah.
Solid clap.
Every time after I do one of those, I feel like I need to burp, and it's always just there, and it's not there enough, and sometimes it is, and you leave that in a few times, and listeners hate that, or
oh really?
Enough people do.
It's
People
misophonia.
People will email you or call in to tell you that, oh, why did you do that? It's like
People
so
really
funny.
don't like mouth sounds in an audio format.
It's funny listening to Doughboys, that fast food podcast we listen to.
Oh, yeah.
They eat all the time. Like it's just the nature of what they have to do. And like every episode, they're like, "Look, we know you're complaining. We get it. We hear you. What do you want us to do?"
This is a food podcast.
Yeah, like there is nothing we can do.
Yeah,
it's funny.
I'm a dick, so sometimes I'll just leave it in on purpose.
Whatever.
But
who gives a shit? Tell them to fucking man up.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. So we clapped. All right.
We heaped scorn on our listeners.
Yeah. And yeah. All right. So I'll just go into it. It's early, man, for me. No.
I get it.
I had my common and not mother-in-law here just a few minutes ago. So.
Oh yeah.
All right.
She didn't want a guest.
I didn't ask.
Rude.
Yeah. All right. So